We are recording.
Okay, tremendous. So this is our first meeting of the Tampa Bay Shard, excuse me, Tampa Bay Shards, February 18th, 2019. So I put together and I'm Steve Henley, and we have Jim.
We lost your sound.
Hello?
Got it.
Okay. So I put together an agenda for today, and I think this meeting will be kind of to figure out what are some of the topics we want to discuss on an ongoing basis. And, you know, how we want to figuring all this out. Go ahead.
We lost your sound for a bit there again. So.
Or I'm not sure what's happening.
Sounds like a bad connection.
Yeah, let me unplug and replug my headphones in. So hold on. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I just reset that. Hopefully that's all it needed. So here, let me pull up what I've got, and let's see here. So what we might do is I prepared an agenda for today, and then what we might do is something similar to what they do with the Archain Asia group is they take notes. So I'll have a folder in the tbshards Google Drive for tbshards weekly debriefing. So and then we'll just put attendees and let's see here. So let me. I'm not coordinated enough to talk and type at the same time. But this will just take a moment. Okay, so I'll delete those. Hopefully we'll have some additional people in the future. Okay, so let's see here. So the latest node release is 0.8.3. So I sat in on the developer stand-up today, and they're doing a few changes. So they're pretty sure that they're going to have testing tomorrow on Tuesday for open testing with all the testers. I try to sit in on those, even though I'm not running a node on my computer. I like to sit in and just kind of observe what's going on. So, yeah, that was helpful to sit in on the developers call this morning to kind of get a feel for where things are at, what obstacles they have to get to a public test net. So, and I think it was on a call the other day. I think someone asked Kent Shikama what his anticipation date when he anticipated a test net coming up, and he said perhaps end of April. So and that's ultimately what we're striving for, is to get that test net up, and I think we can start to work on our staking pool. Well, we can do a lot of administrative things up until then, but once that public test net comes up, then we'll really be working on getting that aspect going. And then the flight to Mercury, that's will have only the root shard. It won't have the sharding capabilities. Any type of sharding won't come until the Venus version. So that's something that I probably heard that in the past, but hearing it again just help it sink in that there's not going to be any sharding once the mainnet goes live. That'll be a future release. So that was helpful. And then so on to Tampa Bay shards. One thing, so until we get that public test net up and running, I think it's more administrative tasks and kind of thinking about policies and procedures, those types of things up until that time. And then what might be helpful to, when explaining to someone, what exactly is the Tampa Bay shards. Well, if we create an executive summary, that will, we can, have a link in our share drive that, that we can share, and people can pull it up and they can read through that. So the executive summary will be, high enough level, with no granular detail that, someone can, reading it, they can go, oh, okay, I got it. I know what you guys are doing. So that's something that we might be able to collaborate on to start to formulate. So with the Tampa Bay shards, the goal is so we're going to be doing Arche node validation, and I guess the vision is for it to be like a staking pool. Is that correct, Jim? Is that how you envision the initial version of Tampa Bay shards, is sort of a staking pool?
Yes. I see an early step being accepting staking tokens and issuing a corresponding ticket that represents their stake in the pool.
Okay.
If I send 100 rocks to the pool,
right,
then that will represent 100 revs of staking.
Right. So we're going to be
maybe less a tithe or cost for managing the staking pool. It may only be 90 revs.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. It's so there's the operation expenses on keeping a validator pool up and running, So here, let me, so our chain staking pool, valid. So let me making some notes here. And so that's a good point. So you say if we've got 10 people who want to be validators, or they want to be have a stake in the pool. So each person has 100 rock or 100 rev that gets staked. So there's a 1,000 rock or rev in the pool, but there's got to be that component of the operating expenses on how that's going to be handled. So, and as far as operating expenses go, that's going to be the virtual server. You know, the monthly expense of keeping the cloud service up and running. And I'm putting together a spreadsheet on the various cloud services that are out there, and then you know, and I'll put in what the pricing, different associated pricing is. So you know, if someone would say, hey, you went with this service provider as opposed to this one, any particular reason why? What's someone just oh, never mind. So say if someone so to justify going with one service provider as opposed to another, you know, you have the pricing aspect of it, and then, you know, customer service and those types of things. So with this spreadsheet, it'll help us to kind of differentiate between the various service providers out there. And then let's see here. And then I envision you know, I think maybe we talked about it, so whenever there's transactions, so when the day comes when there's transactions coming through through the validation node, then there's that revenue sharing. So, you know, some of it will go to the operating expenses, but then it gets divvied up to the various validators. And that would essentially be a smart contract that we would create that would do that. Is that how you envision it, Jim?
Yeah, basically a very simple contract that would receive the staking token and issue the same number of tokens that we create representing their stake.
So staking, to explain that a little bit more to me so I can get a better understanding of, you know, this concept of a staking token. So you make a distinction between rock and rev and a staking token?
Well, we have two networks. We have Ethereum and we have our chain.
Okay.
Right now, we just have Ethereum. So all the staking would be accomplished by sending rock to our contract and getting TB rock back or something like that. Okay, and the main, I mean, the contract would only be a few lines long. The main thing is we need to be able to turn it off, because after the airdrop, the rock won't be worth anything anymore. So we have to be able to turn off the contract, so to speak.
Right.
So if we're the contract owner, we can disable the contract. And my expectation would be that there would already be a contract out there that we could use. And in fact, I was started looking for one, and most of them are a lot more complicated than what we need.
Okay. So you were looking at various Ethereum-based contracts?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, once our chain is up, we can still we're still going to support the TB rock, and it would be possible, and we could we would no longer accept rock in exchange for TB rock, but we would we could accept other.
We could accept other tokens for TB Rock.
We can accept other tokens or ETH. I mean, they could buy
Other Ether. Okay.
and that would require some kind of oracle to get the current price of the rock of the rev in order to convert the tokens that they or the ETH that they provide at the current rev price to the TB rock.
So it would be an oracle that would convert Ethereum to Rev or Ethereum to TB Rock. Or both.
All the additional initial staking will be done. Will be represented by TB Rock.
Okay.
At some point, we would add it on our chain as well. And a lot depends on the timing. Okay, if our chain is live, if before we accept staking, we can avoid rocks entirely, so to speak.
Right.
Although we may want to provide a way for Ethereum users to stake also.
Okay.
My assumption is that all these people that have rock on exchanges and everything else and don't know what to do with them safely can stake their rocks and not worry about claiming their rev on our chain and moving it around. If somebody's just an investor, they don't want to deal with all that.
Right.
So we know what percentage of the stake the person owns. we know what percentage of the the validator rewards are going to the stakeholders. And so we can uh, uh, periodically distribute the rewards to either the TB Rock holders or the TB Rev holders on our chain. Okay.
Okay.
Um, there's a lot of contracts out there that handle exchanges, but like I said, they're all much more complicated than what we need
Okay.
at this point, anyway. Um, and uh, in essence, continued support for the TB Rock, lets the Ethereum users invest in our chain, so to speak,
Okay.
without uh, without going through an exchange. Well, that's a big issue. And I'm not sure if it would apply to staking. Basically, all this staking could be completely anonymous. Okay, you send Rock from an ETH address, and rewards go to that ETH address. We have no idea. We don't know who our customer is. In that case, whether that's a problem or not, we need legal advice on.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I realized at the meeting is that if we kind of geofence this and make this a Florida only endeavor, so that we would need to KYC people if they were Florida residents. In which case, we avoid completely federal law, SEC law.
So you said we do or do not need to do, if we keep it within the state of Florida, we do need to do KYC, or we do not need to do KYC?
Well, we need legal advice on it, but it's not clear to me that we need KYC in either case.
Okay.
It's a fine point of law. In other words, if in essence, they're giving us, we're doing a service in that we're staking their rock or their And we're not selling them anything. It is, well, I guess we're we're providing a service. We're not selling them stock or anything like that.
True.
Okay, they're saying now, and it's a fine point because there's risk involved. I mean, if we mishandle their pools,
Right.
they could lose money and things like that. And
Right.
But ideally, I mean, the ideal situation is if we could simply let this run as an autonomous process
Ooh, I like that.
that um, uh, that people voluntarily participate in, and I mean, depending upon how it was framed and all that, I think we have the ideal situation where it could be done anonymously from anywhere in the world. If we wanted to restrict it to Florida, then we would have a KYC process very similar to what our chain did.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to work through all the legal aspects of it to get a better handle. So I think that's certainly a to do.
If we have to go that route, the reason I say restricted to Florida is because not only would we have national SEC laws that we would have to we would need to get in essence, quote, certified in every state.
Right.
Which is what our chain had to do. And that's very expensive.
So say all that again. Why does someone have to get registered in every state?
Yes, if we were, if it was the case that this was deemed that we were selling,
oh, right,
TV tokens,
right,
and my argument is that we're not. The TV token is simply an indicator of how much rock they put on
that they have staked, right?
That they have staked. But if it's if it was considered a token that we were selling, okay, if we sold it in Florida, the legal expenses would be Florida only. The legal expenses would be minimized. You sell it nationwide, the legal expense would be 50 times as much.
Yeah, gotcha.
Plus the federal government, SEC. So 51 times as hard.
Okay. Yeah, that was helpful. So yeah, that's a good point. So it's people, they have their rock now, and they want to participate in a staking pool, and then they're not, and that TB rock is a representation of how much rock they have staked.
Yeah, it's a token, it's a coupon. I mean, it's something, it's a ticket that shows, that proves that they gave us rock. That they staked rock with us. And it's the, it allows us to transparently give validator rewards to a person based on the number of TB rocks they hold. And hopefully anonymously. That would be the ideal. That would, no.
Okay.
If we can do anonymous, then there's no geographical limits on it.
Right, right. Yeah, I'll have to, one of the items on my to-do list was to research, how to run a staking pool. So, it's all kind of new. So research how to run a staking pool. So, okay, so I'll look into that, get a little more familiar. So maybe next week, in our next week meeting, I'll have a little insight into running a staking pool and maybe some the legal aspects as well.
Yeah. Now, one of the avenues that you might look into would be investment club, which I don't know about Florida law on investment clubs.
Okay.
Generally, to be considered an investment club, the investments are limited and the number of members of the club may be limited. But
All right. Interesting. Okay. Well, that was pretty good. So, and then we've got kind of a logo. One of the creative things I was going to do was kind of put together a Tampa Bay Shards graphic with our logo. So I'll work on that, and then we could. What do you think of I was thinking of a slogan: transparency, communication, and fairness. Is something I thought of. I don't know if I'd use it or not, but something kind of the three guiding aspects of the Tampa Bay Shards. We want to be transparent, and we want to make sure we have good communication, and we want to be fair. So with these Zoom sessions, do you want to post these on the DiviDAO channel on YouTube?
Yeah.
Or what another aspect, if I could check with block spaces and see if this is something that they would want to post on the block spaces YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah.
So,
see if you can get added to that team.
Okay.
you know, the Divvy Dow team currently has quite a number
Yeah.
of managers.
Okay.
Can be good or
So
bad. I mean, somebody can screw things up.
gotcha.
But you know, so it's, you know, provided so that uh, a good number of people can manage it. You know, that's its
Right.
purpose. And also, a number of people like Joshi and others have said it's a great resource, the history that's there.
Yeah.
You know, find all kinds of gems there. Now, a
Yeah.
lot of the work studies are pretty boring, but I, uh, I try not to list the worst ones.
Yeah. And then for the virtual server hardware requirements, what are what's the minimum requirements to run a R node R chain server node?
Well, you know, the requirements are still under development,
Yeah.
but you know, I would suggest that we're probably we're talking about a uh, let me just look at the configurations here. Uh,
If you find a link to I was looking for a link, the requirements, and I was on the Archain Jira and I couldn't find anything. If you find a link or something with that information, if you could post it in the chat, I'll put it into this document here.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, you know, they don't know what the requirements are.
Okay.
But you know, I would suggest that we probably want a machine with at least 32 gigs of memory, uh, probably 8 CPUs, and 100 gigabytes of SSD disk. I'm just looking here at uh, uh, a DigitalOcean. Such a machine, virtual machine, would be $160 a month.
Okay.
Now, there's certain advantages to having a physical machine as opposed to a virtual machine. Um, so that one was only 16 gigabytes. We don't have
Oh,
in here.
that okay. The one for 116 was only 100 and it was
100,
16 gigabytes.
that was, yeah, 160 a month was the 16 gigabytes of memory.
And tomorrow at the node testing, I'll ask Kelly Foster
Yeah.
what her recommendation is. If they recommend.
So we got double that capability for 320 a month. That's 32 gigabytes, 16 CPUs. Now, the alternative is to, of course, purchase hardware and keep it at block spaces or someplace, or and in principle that should be cheaper. Of course,
Right.
some economies of scale. Um, uh, but and probably not, it's not going to be any cheaper to have physical boxes. Carry.net, I found to be a good provider. And
What was that website?
Carry.net, CARI.net.
See.
And they have so, but they've had I've had servers there for a number of years. And the customer service is excellent. And,
Okay.
their facility is rack spaces, which is one of the best in the business.
Right.
What they offer on top of rack spaces is they offer, I guess it's more self-managed, and it's cheaper. With rack space, you're always dealing with the salesman and such. You can, most of the things are done online with Carry. Although the sales people are very nice too. And it also supports clients reselling. So suppose you have a group that you want to provision, or a customer you want to provision. Carry.net, the dashboard provides a ticketing system and other things to help you support customers, whether they're customers within your organization or outside customers.
Oh, okay.
Basically, you could resell or whatever with it. No, I can't. But like here, they have a dedicated server with 32 gigabytes for $110 a month. Terabyte of disk.
Here, can we share your screen so we can see what you're looking at?
We're looking at the same screen that you're looking at, except I clicked on the dedicated servers, not the cloud servers at the top.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, and if you go down to 32 gigabytes, the first one there is only $110 a month.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Well,
So I guess there's all kinds of different things to consider. I mean, whether a SATA drive or an SSD is going to make a big difference, we don't know yet.
right.
We don't know if the number of CPUs is going to be significant or not.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly we're going to have network bandwidth and disk bandwidth to worry about. And perhaps mostly network bandwidth. So that'll be a consideration. And we don't know what the numbers are.
Good deal. Okay. Well, I think this was helpful to kind of get us moving along. And, we can kind of flesh out some of these administrative tasks while they're still working on all the development. So, we'll just kind of monitor what we need to do based on the success they're having with testnet.
Yeah. I was planning to be there tomorrow also, although
Okay.
It didn't sound like they were going to be ready yet to have to release a stable version for testnet till the end of the month, I guess.
Well, that's what they were thinking, but on the developer call, Kent and somebody else were going to move some things around to see if they'd have something stable to do a test net. We'll see what it happens, if it happens or not. So at least that's what the talk was.
All right.
All right, good. Well, let's see here. So I'm going to see if I can post this on the Block Spaces YouTube channel. How big are these video files, these Zoom files typically? It's on your computer, or I guess it's on the Zoom server, and for me to get access to it? Do I need to download it, or what's the steps for getting something like this onto YouTube?
Well, this is I'm recording this to my own machine,
Okay.
so you can upload it to YouTube from there. The alternative is to have it stored on the cloud. There is a limit to how much video you can put on there, without incurring extra charge.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and so, generally when people record on the cloud, I download it to my machine anyway, and then upload it to YouTube.
okay.
So I might as well record it on my own machine first anyway.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll get the admin permissions for the Block Spaces YouTube site, and then I'll share that with you so you can upload it to Block Spaces directly from your computer. I think that'd be the easiest way, instead of you getting it to me and me getting it up there. Just upload it directly from your computer.
Well, yeah, or you can record it on your computer. It depends
Okay.
if they're willing to make us both
Yeah.
give us both access to their YouTube. Chances are they're going to be pretty stingy with giving people access.
Right. So, okay, well, I'll find out, and that's a good point. So we'll figure something out, for this one. It may, but for the future, I'll try to be the one to do the recording, and then I'll upload it from my computer.
Yeah. The other thing, if we put it on DiviDAO, and whoever's managing their YouTube, if they come and like the videos, it'll appear on the Block Spaces site under liked videos.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Okay, so that's another way to get it
Yeah.
On the Block Spaces site.
Gotcha.
But I'm just looking at some videos here. 350 megabytes. Oops, that one didn't convert. Here's one almost a gigabyte. It's probably a few hours.
Yeah, a marathon.
400 megabytes. It's probably typical. 300 megabytes. Uh, 160 megabytes.
Okay.
I mean, these are just random.
Yeah.
Here's another 1 gigabyte. Well, some of these are 3 hours.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Good. Well, I think we covered it pretty well. A little bit each week, and we'll keep moving forward.
Sounds good. Yes, I'm pulling up the bit here to get a pool set up. And I guess I'm wondering, where we can find some help rather than us doing all the work ourselves and all the research ourselves.
Yeah.
There's got to be other people doing this.
Well, what if we were to start some communication on the ArtChain channel? There is a channel called this, see if I can validate or focus group. You think maybe if we were to start a conversation in the validators focus group to get some information, knowledge shared back and forth.
We can certainly try that. To
Yeah.
some extent, you know, people that are seriously into validators often, well, they may see other validators as competition.
Oh, right.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
and
maybe outside.
you know, they may be going into validating because they already hold a tremendous amount of rock. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't need a pool.
Yeah.
Okay, our case is that um, we're uh, you know, we have people that have rock that don't want to run validators.
Yeah.
uh, want to be able to invest smaller amounts
Yeah.
than you know would be required for a full validator
Yeah.
themselves.
Yep.
And
Well, I'll look around, see if there's any validator user groups, um, and see what I can find. Look into. But I think you made a good point. Is, you know, these validators, you know, they're not incentivized to help other people. You know, it's, you know, by helping other people that negatively impacts them. So it doesn't serve them anything to share their knowledge and experience.
ooh, look at this stake cube, proof of stake pool. Welcome to the fully automated and community driven staking pool. Stakecube.net.
Stakecube.net. Yeah.
Very interesting.
If welcome to a fully automated community-driven staking pool. That's interesting. Yeah.
Well,
Huh.
this is the kind of thing we can look into.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's how we learn, is by
yeah.
looking into the existing staking pools. Is there's no easy way to get the knowledge. Is you just have to we just have to figure it out.
Yeah. And if we can,
They have a nice website.
they stake a lot of coins. I wonder if they're I never heard of most of these coins.
rocket pool. That's the one that some of the guys at Block Spaces use for Mimblewimble. Rocket pool.
Yeah, I guess we should. We need to do a little research here on the competition.
Yeah.
Possibly service provider.
Yeah. When you say possibly as a service provider, you mean service provider for the using an existing staking pool as a service provider, or you're talking about the cloud service?
But possibility of a possible partnership, let's say.
Oh, partnership. Gotcha. Okay.
Where maybe we run the nodes,
Right.
and they handle the mechanics of the staking pool, whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
In other words, we're looking for stake.
Right.
and an easy way to stake. Easy way for people to stake.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, these so they may not want to, they probably want to run it themselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But hey, this is all good to investigate and figure it out. Slowly we'll get there.
All right, guy.
All right. Hey, enjoyed it, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Yep. You have a good evening. Bye now.